MassiveUX. Today, in this installment, we're going to be reviewing PMDway.com. I saw this request for review on Reddit and thought that I would review it because I'm interested in the products that they're selling. So there's already a few comments that are mostly talking about the design, um, and that's definitely something we're going to cover today. So jumping over to PMD.com or PMDway.com, this is the first thing that we see. And as the comments say, the primary focus here is that should probably be the design of the site. So this site, currently the way that it is, does not portray trust or a modern outlook on a website. So let's talk about a few things that you could do to update and make this site stand on its own legs and comparable to other similar competitors. One thing I did note, and I tried to come up with an answer, was I was just curious what PMD stands for. That could be something to add somewhere. I've seen a number of different potential terms that it could mean from that, and but I just don't know what the answer is. So that would be something I would probably touch on. So in your Reddit post, I believe you talked about looking at different e-commerce solutions and considering coming back to uh, Shopify. Maybe not. I'm not actually certain if you are on Shopify or not. I think you are. Um, but you must be using a custom theme, possibly. So the first thing I would do is I would find the right theme for your business website. And the best way to do that would be just browsing the Shopify themes. So if we go over here and take a look, I went ahead and sorted by large catalogs and electronics, and there's a few options in the Shopify store. I think you could find other ones elsewhere if you wanted to. But honestly, the best and easiest way to get started would be just going with something like Empire. So I popped up Empire over here, and this would give you really everything that you need to get started and organize your product catalog in a way that's clear and effective. As an example, let's look at some competitor sites that I think are relevant. So you're working in the electronic space and electronic components. Obviously, RaspberryPi.org is a good example. It's also going to depend on what your purpose of the website is going to be. So RaspberryPi.org is more on the educational side, as is Adafruit. But then you have other ones, Element 14. I don't really think this is a great website at all. Or GearBest. GearBest is pretty good as far as their design goes. And this is more along the lines of what you're going for as far as selling products. So when I look at PMD Way, you're mostly on the side of uh, uh, make building collections of product and selling them. You do have a few other items that are around what you're calling news or something along those lines, um, which is fine. I think that's really interesting and can help people get started or even help drive some traffic if you're creating tutorial type posts or reposting from elsewhere. Along those lines, I wouldn't call this news at all. I would call it something like tutorials or something like that. I think also a good option would be like, hey, for beginners or getting started, something like that, where you could curate how can somebody get into the world of Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and electronics if that's what they're looking for. And that way you can curate just a little bit of content about how to do so and then also make a recommendation on a kit to get started. Because that's one of the most complicated things if for beginners is just looking at all of the options and knowing one, just what these things are. You know, what's a hat? I don't know. Um, what's a breadboard? You know, but also and then picking the right kit to get started. So right now, you like I said, you just really need to start with a new theme and reorganize Like, all this stuff is mostly superfluous. This isn't that important. You really need to work on how you're presenting your primary categories and subcategories below. And I think the best, one of the best comparables is GearBest and just how they um, build their mega menus for products. So they have a top a side menu with some drop downs. Obviously, let's see, DJI, they have a pretty sweet um, product menu for consumer, professional, whatever, and they have breakdowns inside of that. That's, this is beautiful. It's much more complicated. Um, Actually, DJI, they may actually be using the Empire theme or something similar. So you can see how they're kind of comparable. Empire theme would help give you some of these like big special call to actions that you want that you're announcing, like free shipping and whatnot. Um, this kind of thing right here, like at last count, we have blah 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 products, blah blah blah. Get rid of that. You don't need that at all. Currency conversions, okay, that's fine. This kind of stuff. Um, get rid of this newsletter. I mean, pop-ups are just annoying to people unless you're just a really well-known brand. Looking at yours, I think this is a pretty new store. I did a little bit of investigation on the domain name or in the domain history, and I don't think anything has existed on here before. Get rid of this. Like if you want to have a newsletter, fine, put it in the footer. Subscribe to newsletter or put a block for signing up, but get rid of it. Any pop-ups, get rid of this in the top nav. Account, login, sign up. This stuff can just be better organized. And I think if you go with something like Empire theme, that would help you out. I do think maybe there's an option for Empire theme where you can have a better mega menu where you can start sorting out these products. That's really you just really need a better looking website overall, and using a solid theme like that would really help you get going. Um, People mention some color schemes and referencing sports teams. This is just what they're talking about is just the colors that you currently are using, orange and blue. The blue is just it's just too bright and strong and overbearing for what you're going for. When you have a content or product driven website, what you really want to do is you want your website and the UI around it to be minimal and and just barely there, because the primary value is in the photography and the product. So there's probably a lot more that I could go into as far as e-commerce specifics, but I think just starting with a redesign and a new theme is really going to help you a lot, um, and make a huge difference. Um, I did check out your social media pages quickly, and I saw that they are pretty empty. So just go ahead and start beefing those up. Get some followers, however you can. Invite friends, family, strangers to follow you. Post more content. Um, and oh yeah, one other item. So on primary landing pages for these collections, you really need to have images for the products. So you have multiple stages to get into to jump through before you actually see any product. So you need it to be flatter than that, where you can, on the first click, you can start seeing the boards or whatever the product is, instead of having to go several collections deep just to see the product. It's really going to be about being able to see images and groups of products as quickly as possible, and then also curating. Um, so that's what I liked a lot about, some of these other ideas that Empire sets up. You can curate drones or drone collections or video collections. Um, DJI does a really good job of presenting certain products prominently. and I think you could do the same. Same with GearBest. So it's a little bit different than my other reviews, but I hope this helps you in some ways and you can find some value in it. And good luck.